There you go. Now,
Where was I?
run that by the world again,
What
since
was
I
it?
forgot to press the about the magpie, Adam
Oh,
and
yes.
Chris in the.
This goes, well, to cut a long story short, I had been in this Sir Donald Bradman, the greatest sportsman in Australian history and in English British history. He was a wizard. He averaged 99.9 runs in the run up and all of the.
That's why the post office box at Barrel is 999.
Exactly. But it means wisdom. See, and he was a Freemason and he wouldn't let the Catholics play on his team because he had to take so many people with him. So he was a prick. And he was the one that got in trouble with walking with George VI with his hands in his pocket on the cricket field.
The Lords.
The Lords.
Yeah.
And that meant an insult. You don't behave that way when you're with the king. You have your hands where you can pull a gun out. Right? So this is what he and the king defended him. That's how close they were. So I'm in the dunny at the fucking back of the Bradman house that he had built.
Which is where I was staying at the
time. Where
time.
she was staying. Not in the house with a nice bedroom with Rena, the one who's sucked up to all these politicians to get a job.
Well, no. They put her in the position. It was after that he
she's
came
sucking
on board.
Someone.
Well, she was just a willing servant of the beast. Like, oh, okay.
Isn't that how it works? Not speaking from personal experience.
Through ignorance, like
okay,
her
I had got all these
total
bottles,
ignorance of what's
all
really
these
going
bottles
on.
that we had manufactured and been supplying to the Aboriginals and so forth.
Yeah, the bottles that
we had the bottles. Now we're going to hit Sydney because the swine flu is going in there, right?
No. This was all part of.
Who was telling the story here?
Yeah, totally. It was Sydney. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. Take it away.
And that gentleman of the jury.
Oh, it's just that we've accomplished so much. I figured.
Can you be quiet from this point on?
I'll try. I'm going to go and have another cuppa.
You go make yourself something to drink. Take your time. All these bottles are labelled and telling all the instructions out of the swine flu and where it's all coming from. Sitting on top of the washing machine. Rena walks in, not knowing him in the next part where the bedroom is, on the computer. And she grabs the bottles and she throws them on the floor. And I got up and the lion roared, right? To such an extent. She accused me of not being married to her. And I said, marriage is when a man goes in unto woman for his seed. So be careful. Right, because you'll end up married to her. Because I'm married to your sister. You're my sister-in-law. Get the fuck out. But this is hers, right? Where she's staying. She drove around in the car for an hour and a half. Petrified. She's the best friend of the Governor General of Australia. We had taken these tours to New Guinea. We'd been on television. And she won't. So we went to see the Governor General 3 times. Gave her a book. She sent the book. She sent a note back. And it was an acknowledgement that it was done in subterfuge language. Right? Which I was telling her to tell the Queen to get off the fucking throne.
Just a little add in here. Quentin Bryce is a
You're
barrister.
Back?
She's a barrister. So when I presented her with the evidence, not only of the Christ return and the evidence, that every court needs, these are facts and proof here, but also the documentary evidence of the track record of the genocide program by all of her peers and the Australian government included, and just 42 pages plus the book. And I presented it to the personal secretary, whose name at the time was Sue Hollins, and Sue promised me she'd get it to Quentin. No. I'm making
you're talking. I want you.
Yeah. Sue promised me that she would get it to Quentin, who happened to be leaving for a flight to Sydney. And I said, well, great, it'll make good reading material. So that was on the 18th of the 18th of August 2009. And then Quentin acknowledged receipt of it. We received it on 9/9/2009. 999 is wisdom. And she
That's the postal code for the Bradman area.
The post office box. She thanked me for
post office box.
for the information and acknowledged that your husband certainly has spent a lot of time, thanked me for the book and all that kind of thing. Now, as a barrister, and I pointed out, because I prefaced everything with a personal letter from her as a mother and a woman, this is what the world governments are doing, and the Australian government. And I said to her, as a barrister, I'm placing in your hands evidence of the return of the Christ. The Queen occupies the throne of England, which is the throne of David. It belongs to the returned Christ when he makes his presence known. So her duty was to inform the Queen and present her with the evidence. Now, she did not say that she did that. She acknowledged receipt of it. So what we say to her is that if she did not do that, then she is culpable, along with the Australian government, the Queen who heads it all up, the genocide program. That's what we have against Quentin Bryce. And my sister, who could have at any time, even if she didn't believe it, picked up the phone and said, Quentin, hey, my sister and her husband have been to Papua New Guinea, and even if the reports that I'm getting is that they are curing people of AIDS. I think you should look at this, because in the world of bullshit that she has been operating is running through the Murdoch newspapers, headed up by John Harding and John Howard and the likes, tells the world that there is no cure for AIDS when there has been for a very long time, and we just proved it and remain alive to tell the story, whereas all the others, like Dr. Robert Beck, are dead. Jim Humble, who gets thrown in African jails, etc., etc., etc. So that's what we have against Quentin Bryce and her best buddy, Rena Hall, who is the executive director. I was corrected by, obviously, somebody who was watching when I called her the CEO recently. Somebody, probably a family member, corrected me. The executive director of the Bradman Foundation. That family is what we have against you all. You are so fucked in the head and believe the bullshit world of Rena that she is involved in is that you would rather go along with her and throw me out on the streets and deny the living Christ who was crucified for you than take a risk by picking up a phone and, gee, what might happen to you? Well, you may not have a job, but so what? You may have actually saved the lives of billions on the planet by doing that. That is what we have against you, Rena, and the rest of the family who have gone along with her. For what? For what? Just a little rant here. Pardon? Ah, she knows. She knows. Anyway, hey, let's upload this one because I'm still making a cup of tea and we're getting back to what really started all of this, was Mohammed's letter.